Welcome everyone to this episode of Delano Podcast News. My guest today is Takisha WiIliams, and she is from Aegis. They are a treatment center for a lot of different things. We're just going to go over some things that people may not be aware of that could affect them, it could help them. So check out this episode.
Hi everyone, my name is Takisha WiIliams. I'm the clinic manager at Aegis Treatment Centers. We just recently changed our name to Aegis. I assist individuals at an outpatient opiate treatment facility, which is MAT, medication assisted treatment. What we do assist with is Suboxone as well as methadone, and which helps our patients transition back into a normal life.
So we were talking about the many different things, and one thing was seasonal affective disorder, and that was really interesting because I never really thought about that, especially for Delano and in this area. So I mean, like, elaborate a little bit more on that, because I've read a little bit, but I might not have got the full gist of it.
Yeah. So S.A.D, seasonal affective disorder, occasionally happens, and there's two. So there's the one that happens around in fall and the winter time, and then one that happens midway around summertime. So it goes hand in hand with depression. However, with seasonal affective disorder, in regards to the population that we have, it affects your moods, your appetites. It's almost this slumber that you get when the wintertime comes. So for a lot of individuals who are trying to put a perspective on what S.A.D is, think of it as when it's bright outside, really nice and sunny, then all of a sudden a cloud comes over and just, takes over and your mood change. And so that's where S.A.D comes from. It's just that inside feeling of everything just changing, your emotions, your serotonin starts going down. It's a major co-occurring disorder with our patients that we have.
So I know change of season, like how you said like that, does I was reading a little bit of it real quick, and it said that daylight savings time, does that have sometimes to do with it too? Because the change in time, getting everybody's internal clock changing, that can affect it somehow.
So it can. When S.A.D references the depression of it, it's more so in regards to the emotional aspect of it. However, if you look at daylight savings time, it can affect several individuals adjusting because you're losing something. So it's adjusting to now a new time of sense. I know for myself, I went through it trying to wake up in the morning and realize I'm losing an hour of sleep, and it just depends on how you cope with it. So coping skills do play a major part in how you adjust to S.A.D.
So even in this area, Delano, I don't see us as having too much of a drastic change in weather, because we have summer and we have winter. We have a short period of spring and summer where the weather's really nice. It's either hot or it's kind of like how it is right now. It's foggy or cold. So I mean, that kind of interested me, because it's it didn't seem like it would really affect this population. So it's demographically, does it depend on culture or other things, or it's just geographical?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you normally go outside? How often would you say you go outside?
I try to get out as often as I can, but most of the time it's just to go to work and come back.
Okay. So think of it as when you're during the summer, normally everyone's out, they're enjoying themselves. And then all of a sudden, here comes the cold. And with the weathers we've been having lately, the drastic rain, the fires, you're inside your home. It brings on a depression. It brings on a sense of having to isolate yourself inside your home, that feeling of, being lonely, remembering the fact that, you can't do things that you normally would do. And around the holiday times, it's really difficult because individuals start to go back into the feeling of, I'm trapped. It's almost like a bubble. I'm in this dark place I can't get out of. So not necessarily outside, but just the feeling of depression.
So for here, I mean, I've lived here almost all my life, and recently, like how you said with the fires, I felt like I wanted to just stay inside because being with the air quality and everything I was like, I did not want to be outside, even though it was kind of sometimes a nice day. It was like, I could go for a run or for a ride, but the air quality is just so bad. So it like brings you in. So would that have like could that have like negative effects on me or anybody per se?
And I'm not a professional, but yes. I mean, if you think about it, you're worrying about your home. You're worrying about, you mentioned the fires, you're worrying about your home, can't go outside, breathing in everything. It's the depression. It starts bringing on anxiety, the worry of, I'm not able to function correctly. And with S.A.D, you tend to stop. If you're not able to do the things that you normally do daily, then a depression comes on. If I can't go outside and enjoy a little bit of the sun, I'm a winter baby, so I love the winter. And if I can't do that because it's raining, I tend to develop a little bit of sitting in the house. I'm going to start eating carbs, which is part of the seasonal affective disorder, eating and then the weight gain and just the whole part of it. And then again, like I mentioned, not being able to get a lot of sunlight because that vitamin D as well, it assists with it.
So, I mean, eating, that's why a lot of people have a hard time, like in winter, starting a New Year's resolution sometimes, because it's like, oh, I'm going to start this, but then the weather it just gets you sometimes because they're like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or something. And a lot of people would probably, like I would associate wintertime with just, oh, it's the holidays. I'm going to eat because it's the holidays, family time. You can't pass up all the good food here. Probably be like tamales or something that everybody eats. So it's like, I never actually really thought of that. So, I mean, it's a form of depression.
It is. It's a bounce off of depression where, and again, like I try to bring everything back to my population that I serve because with the fact of you think of, oh, it's cold, cuddle up in the house and be, comfortable. But during the holidays, you're worrying about bills and holidays, Christmas, and you can't do that. And so it does bring on a sense of depression. I mean, it's sad. You sit in the house, you're eating, and you realize that you're not eating for comfort of being in your home, but eating for the comfort of that the things that you want to do, you just can't seem to get through it, and you don't understand why.
So I was looking on this, and if it's a sort of depression, like how bad can S.A.D, how bad can that get? Can it affect like really bad to the point of even like suicidal thoughts even?
Yes, it can. Yes, it can. So with that being said, you really want to make sure that you're paying attention to the signs, the fatigue, oversleeping a lot, not wanting to do your daily activities that you would normally do. And when it does get that bad, there are several different coping skills and ways you can reach out. Your therapist, your doctor, speaking to them, even just stepping outside for a little bit, trying to encourage yourself of getting that little bit of fresh air, trying to push yourself back into that normalcy will help.
So how would someone know a symptom? Like, what's a way to kind of like get, I mean, obviously we kind of like touched on one where it's like, oh, you feel like I just want to stay inside. I started eating a little more carbs and everything. You kind of get a little hibernation thing going on. Mm-hmm. Is there any other signs or anything that you would kind of see to kind of look out for?
Well, you want to remember anything that takes you from your normal daily routine is a first sign you want to start paying attention to. Why am I not able to get up and do things that I normally do? I notice that I'm sleeping a whole lot more. My hopelessness, I don't want to do anything. Those are signs that someone should start reaching out to their doctor or therapist and start asking those questions. It's now been a week or, 3 days, and I don't have the drive to get up and do the things that I want to do. Those would be the symptoms.
So, I mean, symptoms, yeah. So, I mean, is this something like a regular physician you would go to, or is this more, you would have to seek like therapists or behavioral someone? I don't know the actual term for that. Would it be like a psychologist or someone? Because even in Delano, I don't even know where the first place I would go as far as looking at that, like trying to find someone. Oh, I feel like the first person I would think is my doctor, but he's probably just an internist, which is probably not the first person to go to.
I like that. I like those, but they would be. So always I would never want to tell anyone not to go to their doctor. I think that's my number one go-to on my list. And then you want to move to your therapist, and most likely your doctor will refer you to them. Psychotherapy is something that they would send you towards. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is a form that they also would start working with you on, because what you're trying to do is change the negative thoughts about, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling depressed. Why don't I want to do this? So a therapist would assist that person in changing those negative thoughts to positive and getting that motivation and that will to get back into it.
I was pulling up this real quick because I was kind of reading as you were talking and
Mhm.
listening to that, and how it says about psychotherapy. And I think right here you could probably see it on the screen right there, how it says like psychotherapy, you could talk to someone about it, and then also light therapy. With that, how does that work? Because I mean, you normally want to go outside for light therapy or to get like natural sunlight, but you could do that indoors too. How is a way? Because it says like a box or a lamp, a special box or lamp. Is that something anybody could just buy like at Walmart, or is it you have to order something?
And those are very great answers. It is very much so of thinking it as like a tanning shield, but it's a light form. You can order it. Your doctor can also prescribe it and have you pick it up. Very much so like the lighting that's in here. It's just sitting in front of it for a little bit. Think of it, it's not like your lamp, like you would have like a regular lamp. So I don't want anyone to go out and purchase a lamp and say, I'm going to get light therapy. You really want to make sure that it is that appropriate lamp. You don't want to stare into it. It does have that effect. They also started coming out with a night alarm clock that starts getting brighter and brighter and brighter each time you're about to wake up, to just give you that sense of light that you're needing.
Now, like sleep patterns, would that be like something to really notice? Like if you used to waking up at a certain time and you can't wake up, like say I like to get up at 5, but then when the change of time comes, like daylight savings, sometimes I can't. It's like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and it's like I could barely roll out sometimes. So like, what's a good way to combat that? Like, is it just like reprogramming yourself, kind of like you got to start going to bed earlier and other things?
And again, that goes back into what we teach our patients is behavioral changes. What you're talking about is more so changing, just your adjusting. You're adjusting to what the change of anything. So if I'm talking about how you say waking up, trying to adjust to daylight savings time, then yeah, that's a behavior, probably setting your alarm a little bit more to getting adjusted to it. For our patients who are adjusting to SAD, we start noticing it prior to. We start talking to them to figure out, they may all of a sudden, yeah, I just don't know what I'm going through. I just can't seem to get the motivation to come into the clinic today. I didn't want to get out of bed. So when we start hearing stuff like that, we're like, well, tell me a little bit more. How long has this been happening? And if we can catch it at least a month before fall's about to come or the winter, then we're just like, okay, this is happening. And you just want to pay close attention to those signs. So behavioral changes, and that's where that CBT comes in.
So like, say someone is like, does any like substances have any like a kind of a magnifying effect to this? Like someone that's a drinker, or someone that, even to someone that has an occasional once in a while, could that like enhance that, or would that be something to kind of stay away from around this time of the year? Because I mean, there's a lot of things that people will say, oh, it's okay to have a little bit. Some people say just kind of stay away. If you're in a New Year's resolution time, sometimes you'd be like, I want to quit alcohol, or I want to quit whatever substance I'm using. Because I mean, that could kind of really make it worse, right? If you do have SAD, and then you are a user, or you do something else, or you're using a little bit of alcohol or something, it could probably be worse, right?
So I don't think taking an occasional drink like we would on the holidays and, then all of a sudden we're experiencing SAD. But someone who does suffer from an addiction or alcoholism would experience this because of the changes already within their body. The chemical imbalance is already there. So with that being there, they're already experiencing the SAD around those times. And again, like you said, outside factors play a part of SAD, just like any part of form of depression.
So I work also in the funeral industry. So it's like anniversary type things. Is that something that S.A.D can also take on to? It's like, oh, it's this time of the year. I mean, every year you always have that anniversary when someone's passed away or something, you miss someone or a breakup or something like that. That would that be categorized also as like S.A.D?
Very much so. S.A.D is consistent. So someone who every winter, if they lost a loved one, and in the case of you stating you work with bereavement patients, that would be the case. Every winter, if they lost someone, they're going to start going through those symptoms, the hopelessness, sadness, start, thinking about their loved ones again, falling asleep a lot, not wanting to go out, detach themselves from their families. Yeah, very much so.
Wow. So I mean, this definitely brought in a lot of light, no pun intended, because the light therapy, but to a lot of things that I didn't even know about, and I didn't think that this would be a problem. It's like how I said in the beginning, in this area, I would think, oh, well, the winters aren't too bad, the change of time isn't too bad. So I know that I think it did pass, but I don't know if it passed federally, because I think on the last ballot we did have that daylight savings time thing kind of pass, where they wanted to get rid of daylight savings time. Oh. I think it was a California. It was one of the ballot measures. Okay. Are on there. So I mean, if there's a change where there isn't that time change of an hour, would that have maybe a positive effect, or would there still be that because of weather?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do believe, I don't know as far as daylight saving times. I think personally, we're going to have to talk to you on a separate level about daylight saving times. But when it comes to S.A.D, it's something that occurs all the time during the winter seasons. So it's someone that's persistently having this emotion. So whether or not you take out daylight savings time or not, I don't believe that it would all of a sudden stop. The person who is experiencing it won't go through it anymore. It would still be there if they're experiencing those moments during that time.
So is there anything someone can, you wouldn't really suggest anyone to kind of self-treat? This is something more you'd want to seek professional help for?
Well, studies do show that there are, of course, there's people like to use, medications. There's medications that you can also take. There's also like the antipsychotic medications, different types. Also seek your doctor for that. And then psychotherapy. If you were just going to do it on your own, I would suggest going outside every now and then, trying to get that little bit of light, trying to reach in. Always having a support system is always great. So always, letting someone know when you're starting to feel that way, hey, I haven't been feeling myself, start trying to keep someone around, because especially in the beginning stages before it becomes too bad where you're needing that additional medical or psychotherapy help.
Awesome. Well, is there any last words, any last things that you would like to say before we end the podcast, or is there anything else, any more information you'd like to bring up?
I would. Thank you. I do want to say to anyone that is listening that going through these times with S.A.D and experiencing them, especially with the substance abuse, relapse is very high. People tend to relive those they've lost through an addiction, through just not being able to mend those relationships while they were in their addiction. And so we just want to make sure that if they do need help in any type of form, to seek treatment, whether it be medication assisted treatment, psychotherapy, or just reaching out to their support system or family. I just really hope that everyone out there do reach out, because it is a rising and continuous to arise problem, and we just want to make sure that we can help the best way we can.
Well, again, Takisha, thank you very much for coming on this episode. I hope to maybe bring more information in upcoming episodes in the future. If there's anything else that you can bring to help educate the public on anything that they might need or see, or maybe their family members that might bring something to them that they can help a family member, we'd love to have you back.
Okay.
And everyone, thank you for tuning in to this episode. We will have more coming up soon. And you can catch all these on Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and full episodes on YouTube also, as well as we have clips of some of the important information. We'll make little clips, and those are always going to be uploaded.